Everyone thought Noah Reed was trying to steal credit after the crash. That was the story Daniel Pierce needed them to believe. A damaged engineer waking up confused. A former co-founder jealous of what Heliomed had become. A patient with memory gaps mistaking resentment for truth. It was a clean story. Useful. Repeatable. By the time Noah was discharged from the hospital, Daniel had already told it to the board, the buyer, the legal team, and Claire. Especially Claire. She sat beside Noah's bed that morning and helped him learn the shape of his new life. Daniel was the founder everyone recognized now. Claire was the fiancée who had stayed because Daniel told her Noah had pushed everyone away before the crash. Noah was the fragile one, the unstable one, the one who needed rest, the one who had always been brilliant with code and systems, but never strong enough to lead the company he had helped build. Noah listened because he had no better version. His memories came back in broken pieces, rain on a windshield, a blue folder, Daniel shouting behind a locked conference room door, Claire crying, and one sentence Noah could not place. Don't let them ship it. It meant nothing to him yet. Still, the sentence tightened his chest. He only knew that Heliomed's newest system was supposed to protect patient records, and that Daniel was about to sell it before Noah could remember why that terrified him. 3 hours before the acquisition was set to close, Noah stood in the lobby and watched Daniel celebrate the sale of the company Noah could barely remember building. The buyer smiled. The board applauded. Claire stood near the stage with Daniel's hand resting lightly against her back. Then the presentation screen flickered. For half a second, a hidden file path appeared beneath the acquisition demo. Blue room. Noah whispered the words before he understood them. His fingers went cold. A memory broke open, the same blue folder, Daniel's hand slamming it shut, Claire's voice asking what he was hiding, and Noah saying those words for the first time. Don't let them ship it. Claire heard him. Daniel saw her face change, and in that small, frightened pause, Noah realized something more terrifying than memory loss. They had not been waiting for him to recover. They had been waiting to see how much of him was still gone. 6 hours earlier, Noah had opened his eyes to a ceiling he did not recognize and a woman crying beside him as if grief had given her permission to decide what was true. Claire Monroe looked painfully composed in the harsh hospital light, the engagement ring Noah had once chosen flashing whenever she wiped her cheek. He knew the ring before its meaning. Claire, he said. Her face broke with relief. For a moment, that was enough. A name, a ring, a hand around his. Then she began giving his life back in pieces. There had been a crash, she said. Rain. A wet road. He had been found less than 2 miles from Heliomed's office tower with a concussion, 2 fractured ribs, and memory gaps that might resolve in days, weeks, or never. You were under so much pressure, Claire told him. You kept going to the office late. You kept saying Daniel was hiding things from you. Was he? Noah asked. Claire lowered her gaze to their joined hands. You and Daniel were complicated. The answer carried no weight, yet somehow too much. A doctor came in with a nurse named Maya Chen, who checked Noah's IV, tested his focus, then paused when Claire answered 2 questions before Noah could. He can try, Maya said gently. Claire gave a small, embarrassed smile. Sorry, I'm just used to helping him. Noah tried to remember being helped. What came instead was Daniel's voice behind glass, sharp enough to cut through rain. You don't get to destroy this because you're scared. The memory vanished before he could hold it. Daniel arrived at 9:30 carrying coffee for Claire and nothing for Noah. He entered with the ease of someone stepping into property he already owned. Buddy, he said, touching Noah's shoulder. You scared the hell out of us. Noah studied the polished face of a man people trusted on site. I'm sorry, Noah said, because it seemed like the safest thing to offer. Daniel's expression softened in public. Don't apologize. Just focus on recovery. The company is taken care of. Heliomed. The name landed deep, but did not open. Daniel spoke carefully. Heliomed had started small. Noah had helped early. Daniel had carried it forward. Stress had made Noah combative before the accident. Nothing that mattered now. Claire sat very still while he said it. Maya returned with discharge forms near noon. Daniel stepped into the hallway, and Claire followed, leaving the door not quite closed. The papers waited in front of him. His name appeared beside words that seemed to belong to someone else. Cognitive rest. Follow-up evaluation. Temporary confusion. Avoid stress. At the bottom, he signed. The pen moved awkwardly until it reached the R in read. Then, his hand made a small line underneath it, quick and deliberate. Noah frowned. Maya noticed. "Is that how you usually sign?" she asked. "I don't know." Claire came back before Maya could answer anything else. Her eyes went to the signature, then to Noah's face. "You're tired," she said. "Don't overthink small things." But Maya did not look away from the paper. She looked at the line under the R as if it had asked a question no one else wanted to hear. Later, while Claire went to get his clothes, Noah tried to unlock his phone. His thumb knew the passcode before his mind did. That frightened him more than forgetting it would have. Most recent messages were gone. Not deleted, exactly. Cleaned. Too empty. There were texts from Claire, a missed call from Daniel the night of the crash, and one reminder set for 5:45 p.m. Board packet closes. Noah read it 3 times. A second note sat beneath it, unsent, unfinished, with no subject line. Don't let them ship it. His ribs hurt when he breathed. A laptop sat open on the rolling table beside Maya's workstation outside the room. Through the half-open door, Noah saw her struggling with a hospital scheduling portal that had frozen on a patient intake screen. "Try clearing the duplicate token," he said before he meant to speak. Maya turned. "What?" Noah blinked. "I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that." She hesitated, then clicked where he pointed. The screen refreshed. The error disappeared. Neither of them spoke for a moment. From the hallway, Claire's voice drifted closer. "He's remembering fragments," she said. Daniel answered too quietly to hear. Then Claire said something that stopped Maya's hand over the keyboard. No, not enough to stop anything. But enough to make this messy. Noah sat very still. When Claire came back in, she was carrying his jacket and smiling with all the tenderness a lie could wear. "Ready to go home?" she asked. The phone, the reminder, the unfinished note, and the hospital bracelet formed a pattern in Noah's lap. Inside the jacket pocket, his fingers brushed plastic. He waited until Claire turned toward the nurse's desk before he pulled it out. A cracked Heliomed access badge stared back, his photo faded under dried rain. The title beneath his name had been scratched enough to blur, but not to hide the first word. Founder. Noah slipped it back before Claire saw. His pulse began to count down before any clock did. Heliomed was still a blank shape to him. Daniel's deal was worse, a threat he could feel before he could name it. Even the anger rising inside him might have been memory, instinct, or both. But he knew Claire had not asked if he wanted to go to the office. She had asked if he was ready to go home. So Noah slid the phone into his pocket and gave the only answer that would keep her from watching him too closely. "Yes," he said. Since waking, every answer had been handed to him. This one, he chose. Claire drove as if silence were part of the treatment plan. She kept the radio off. When Noah shifted, she glanced at him with the same careful expression from the hospital, soft enough to look loving, tight enough to feel like supervision. "You should rest when we get home," she said. Noah watched the city pass in gray afternoon light. "You said legal needed closure." Claire's fingers tightened around the steering wheel. "Daniel only needs you to confirm there's no dispute. Then this can stop hanging over everyone." Everyone. The word stayed with him. Not you. Not us. Everyone. The Heliomed Tower rose near the medical district, mirrored glass linked to a private hospital that used its software. Noah waited for memory. Only pressure came. Claire pulled into the visitor entrance instead of the employee garage. Before Noah could ask why, a security guard opened her door. "Miss Monroe, Mr. Pierce is expecting you." The guard looked past her at Noah, then hesitated. Claire answered before he had to decide what Noah was. "He's with me." Noah touched the cracked badge inside his pocket. The lobby was brighter than the hospital and colder in a different way. White stone, glass walls, and a digital banner stretched across the atrium. Heliomed Systems acquisition ceremony, 6 p.m. Beneath the words, a timer counted down. Arsauscher Sichitiefen Shabamiao. Noah stopped walking. Claire noticed too late. "It's mostly symbolic," she said. "The real work has been done." A woman at reception gave Claire a visitor pass. Then she printed one for Noah. The pass did not say founder. It did not say engineer. It said GUST. Noah clipped it beside the hospital bracelet he still had not removed. Patient. Guest. Two labels pretending to explain him better than his own name. Employees moved around cocktail tables and screens. No one seemed surprised to see Daniel's name on everything. Near the stairs, a photo wall showed Heliomed's beginning. Two young men in a rented office, wires on the floor, pizza boxes near a whiteboard. Noah stepped closer. Daniel stood in the center, smiling. Beside him, at the edge of the frame, someone had been cropped badly enough that half a shoulder remained. The cut held his attention. Claire came up beside him. "Old pictures. Daniel hates that one." "Who was standing there?" She did not answer. Before she could, a young man in a Heliomed lanyard hurried past with a tablet, then stopped so suddenly his shoes squeaked. "Mr. Reed?" Noah turned. The young man went pale. "Sorry. I didn't know you were coming in today." Claire's voice sharpened under its politeness. "He's only here briefly." His badge read Eli Park Junior Systems Engineer. Eli glanced from Noah's hospital bracelet to the visitor pass. "I used your old error map when I joined, the one with the color labels. It saved me during the Street Bridget rollout." Claire's smile froze. Noah heard old error map and felt recognition with no picture attached. "What color was critical?" he asked. Eli blinked. "Blue." Claire stepped in. "Noah needs to sit down." But Eli pointed toward a rehearsal screen. "There's a timeout issue in the demo. Daniel says it's a display lag, but patient permissions duplicate if the session refreshes too fast." "I thought maybe your old map." "Eli," Claire said. The young engineer stopped. Lines of interface text moved through a simulated patient record. The problem appeared for only a second, but his body reacted before his mind could translate it. His hand lifted slightly, reaching for a keyboard that was not there. "That isn't a display lag," he said. Eli's face changed. "What is it?" Noah tried to hold the answer, but pain cut through his temple. "A folder. Blue labels. Daniel saying they could patch it after launch." "Then nothing." "I don't know yet," Noah admitted. Claire took his arm. This time, the gesture was not gentle. Daniel appeared at the top of the stairs, wearing the confidence of a man whose version of the day had already been printed. "Noah," he called warmly. Several people turned. Daniel descended with open arms and public concern. Acquisition cameras were being tested near the stage. Every expression here had an audience. Daniel embraced him carefully, avoiding the ribs. "You made it," he said near Noah's ear. Then, lower, with the smile still on his face, "Try not to make this harder than it has to be." When Daniel stepped back, his voice rose for everyone else. "We're grateful Noah could join us, even briefly. He was part of the early journey, and tonight is emotional for all of us." Early journey. The phrase landed like a locked door. The photo wall pulled his attention back. The cropped shoulder, Daniel's name under every milestone. Claire's hand resting too close to Daniel's sleeve. On the large screen behind the stage, the acquisition countdown changed. Arsauscher Senchiefen Lingsimao. Noah understood then that someone had not only taken his place. They had prepared the room to thank him for disappearing. Daniel did not take Noah to the main conference room. He took him to a smaller room behind the stage, where the table was already arranged with folders, water bottles, and a single black pen placed exactly where Daniel wanted Noah to sit. Claire followed them in. So did a woman Noah had not met yet, with a legal pad pressed to her chest and a Heliomed badge clipped high on her blazer. Lena Ortiz, Daniel said. Compliance. She's making sure tonight stays clean. Lena gave Noah a polite nod. Her eyes moved once to his hospital bracelet, then away. Clean. Noah was beginning to hate that word. Daniel closed the door and dropped the warmth from his face like a jacket he no longer needed. I know this is overwhelming, he said. So I'm going to make it simple. The buyer needs confirmation that there are no unresolved ownership claims before we sign. I don't remember making a claim. That's the point, Daniel said gently. You were confused before the crash. You were angry. You sent messages no one wants to use against you. Claire sat beside Noah, close enough for her knee to touch his. This protects you too. Lena opened a folder. The top page was titled Intellectual Property Clearance Statement. Noah read slowly. Every sentence seemed designed to sound harmless until it found his throat. I acknowledge that my past contributions to Heliomed Systems were limited, fully compensated, and do not constitute founder-level ownership or control. Founder-level. His fingers curled under the edge of the table. That isn't a medical document, he said. Daniel smiled. No. It's a business document. Which is why we need to keep emotion out of it. Lena's pen paused over her notes. Through the frosted glass came the sounds of the lobby filling, chairs, glasses, a microphone check, laughter too loud for the moment. Daniel slid another page across the table. It was his speech. Not a contract. Not evidence. A story. The opening praised innovation, courage, and trust. Then came the yellow paragraph. We also honor those who were with us early but could not continue the climb. Noah Reed's passion mattered, even when his health made leadership impossible. Tonight, we move forward with compassion, not blame. Noah felt the words enter him one at a time. Not because they were cruel. Because they were ready. Daniel had planned them, polished them, practiced how grief should sound as a weapon. Claire was the first to turn aside. You were going to say this in front of everyone? Noah asked. Daniel leaned back. I was going to protect your dignity. No, Noah said. You were going to bury me politely. The sentence surprised even him. For a second, no one answered. Then Daniel laughed once, quiet and disappointed. This is exactly what I mean. You hear an act of kindness as an attack. Lena looked down at the highlighted paragraph again. Noah turned to her. Did I really have no ownership? Lena's face stayed professional, but something cautious entered her voice. The current cap table does not list you. Current, Noah repeated. Daniel's eyes moved to her. Lena closed the folder halfway. Historical records are being compiled for archive. Archive? Noah asked. Claire touched his arm. Noah, please. But the word had already opened another crack. A room with no windows. A blue folder. His own voice saying, if you move this to archive, it disappears before audit. Noah pressed a hand to his ribs. Daniel stood. We don't have time for this. A phone buzzed on the table. Lena checked it and stiffened. What? Daniel asked. The buyer's council wants IP clearance by 4:30. They said if there's any unresolved creator issue, they'll delay signature authority. The countdown on the wall monitor read, Daniel reached for the clearance statement and placed it in front of Noah again. There, he said. You wanted to matter? This is how you matter. You sign, you help the company survive, and no one has to talk about what happened before the crash. What happened before the crash? Claire's hand withdrew from his arm. Daniel's jaw tightened, then relaxed. You had a bad night, he said. You came to the office unstable. You accused people who loved you. You stormed out in the rain. That is all. Lena's phone buzzed again, but she did not look at it this time. Noah picked up the pen. Claire exhaled softly. Daniel's shoulders eased. Noah held the pen above the line long enough for all three of them to believe he might obey. Then he set it down beside the page. I want to see the messages. You said I sent. Daniel fixed on him. They're painful, Claire whispered. Then I should know why. Outside, the microphone clicked on. A staff member announced that the acquisition program would begin shortly. Daniel gathered the papers with slow, careful hands. His smile returned before he opened the door. Of course, he said loudly, for whoever might be near enough to hear. We'll do whatever helps Noah feel safe. But as he passed Lena, he spoke without looking at her. Keep him away from the archive room. Noah did not turn toward the archive room. That was what Daniel expected him to do. Instead, he let Claire guide him back into the lobby, past the photo wall and the stage where Daniel's speech waited for a microphone. He walked like an injured man, but not like a defeated one. Eli Park was still near the rehearsal screen. The junior engineer kept his eyes down when Claire approached, but his hands moved nervously over the tablet, closing windows too quickly. Eli, Noah said. Claire's grip tightened on his sleeve. He's busy. So am I. The answer came out quiet. Not defiant. Just true. Eli glanced toward the side room where Daniel had disappeared with Lena, then lowered his voice. I shouldn't have said anything earlier. About the timeout issue? It's not supposed to matter. Mr. Pierce said the buyer demo uses synthetic records. A fake patient profile rotated through the interface, medication schedule, insurance code, treatment permissions. It appeared clean until Eli refreshed the session. For less than a second, two permission layers overlapped. A nurse role became an administrator role. Then the screen corrected itself. Noah's skin prickled. That's not a display bug, he said. Eli swallowed. That's what I thought. Claire stepped between them and the screen. Noah, you're hurting yourself. He was. The pressure behind his eyes had sharpened into pain. But beneath the pain, something had started lining up. A hospital intake screen. A duplicate token. A blue label. Not blue for design. Blue for critical. Noah reached for the tablet. Eli hesitated only once before handing it over. Noah, Claire warned. He ignored the warning because fear had become less useful than the pattern in front of him. His fingers moved slowly across the interface, but the path felt familiar. Session logs, permission, cache, refresh event, audit marker. A message appeared. Access restricted, admin credential required. Eli leaned closer. I can't open that. Daniel locked most of the backend this morning. This morning? Noah asked. After the hospital called to confirm you were being discharged. Claire's face tightened. That's not what he meant. But Eli had already heard himself. The timestamp fixed itself in Noah's mind. 11:42 a.m. Daniel had locked the backend after learning Noah would be present. Not after a security review. Not after a technical concern. After Noah woke up enough to come back. A fragment returned so sharply Noah gripped the table. Rainwater dripping from his coat. Daniel blocking the conference room door. Claire crying. Noah holding a blue folder to his chest. If this ships, Noah heard himself say, someone can change who gets access to treatment. The memory cut out, but left the meaning behind. Noah's attention snapped to Eli. Who uses the pilot version? Eli's voice dropped. 3 clinics. 2 hospitals. 1 charity network. Live patient records? It's segmented, Eli said quickly, then his face gave away the rest. It's supposed to be segmented. Claire took the tablet from Noah's hand and returned it to Eli. This is exactly why Daniel didn't want him near technical systems. He sees pieces and turns them into disasters. He studied her timing. In that moment, he did not search her face for love. He searched it for timing. Did I tell you about this before the crash? Claire blinked. That was enough. A staff member approached with a headset. Miss Monroe? Mr. Pierce wants you near the stage for the donor partner acknowledgement. Relief crossed Claire's face at having a reason to leave. Stay here, she told Noah. Please. For once, just stay where people can help you. She walked away before he answered. Eli waited until she was gone. There's something else, he said. Noah turned. The old error map you made, Eli whispered. The color labels weren't public. Blue didn't just mean critical. It meant stop deployment. Noah closed his eyes. Blue room. The hidden file path from the presentation. The folder Daniel wanted buried. Eli tapped the tablet again, bringing up the demo queue. A file path flashed during rehearsal this morning. I thought it was a rendering glitch. He showed Noah a cached screenshot. For half a second, the image held beneath the demo title. Archive, Blue, Room, Risk. Memo, Draft. Noah felt the lobby tilt around him. Risk memo. Not a memory. A document. Across the room, Daniel stepped onto the stage and greeted the buyer with a practiced laugh. Behind him, the acquisition countdown dropped under 90 minutes. Noah handed the tablet back to Eli. Can you get me into that folder? Eli looked at Daniel. Then at Noah's hospital bracelet. Then at the visitor badge hanging over it. No, he said. Noah's hope fell. Eli slid the tablet into his jacket instead of closing it. But I know someone who can. Eli did not take Noah to Lena directly. That would have been too obvious. Instead, he led him past the catering tables and Heliomed awards toward a printer alcove near compliance. Claire was on stage with Daniel now, smiling under the acquisition banner. From a distance, they looked like the future. Up close, Noah felt the company slipping through his hands without remembering holding it. Eli stopped near a copier humming over a stack of board packets. Lena reviews everything before it goes upstairs, he whispered. If there's a risk memo, she'll know where it should be. Should be, Noah said. Eli did not pretend to miss the difference. Before he could answer, a door opened behind them. Daniel stepped out of the smaller conference room with Lena at his side. Whatever he had been saying ended the moment he saw Noah near the compliance printer. His expression did not harden. That would have warned too many people. Instead, he smiled. There you are, Daniel said. We were looking for you. Lena's gaze moved to Eli's tablet, then to Noah. She did not speak. Daniel placed a hand on Noah's shoulder and guided him away from the alcove with pressure that looked friendly from the lobby. Come with me. Noah wanted to pull away, but several buyer representatives were watching, and Daniel knew it. So Noah walked. This time, Daniel brought him into a room with no glass, no frosted walls, and no audience. Claire joined them a moment later, closing the doors softly behind her. On the table lay the IP clearance statement. Again, but now there was a second document beneath it. Medical Stability Addendum. Noah read the title twice. What is this? Claire's attention darted from Daniel back to Noah. It's only there if we need it. If who needs it? Daniel sat across from him. The Buyers' Council moved the deadline up, 4/15. They're nervous because you're here, asking questions in public, alarming junior staff. I found a permissions flaw. You saw a demo artifact and scared a 23-year-old engineer. Eli said you locked the backend after the hospital called. Claire's voice cut in. Because you were coming in confused. Noah turned to her. She met his eyes, but not for long. Daniel slid the medical addendum forward. If you sign the clearance, we never use this. If you refuse, we protect the company from disruption caused by a patient under neurological observation. The line beneath his own name held him still. Subject has displayed confusion, agitation, fixation on alleged ownership, and impaired ability to distinguish memory fragments from present facts. The wording was too polished to be a doctor's note. The footer read, prepared by C. Monroe, legal liaison. The air in Noah's lungs thinned. You wrote this. Claire's face changed in a way he could not name fast enough. Hurt, fear, guilt, calculation, all of it crossed and vanished. I wrote what Daniel's legal team needed based on what the hospital said. Maya didn't say this. You don't know what Maya said, Claire replied. The sharpness surprised both of them. Daniel leaned forward. This is why we tried to keep things simple. You are making enemies out of the only people trying to spare you. The document did not shout. It did not accuse. It simply reduced him until truth from his mouth would sound like a symptom. That was the elegance of it. Daniel had not needed to erase Noah's memory. He only needed to make memory inadmissible. Noah's phone vibrated in his pocket. Claire noticed. Daniel noticed Claire noticing. Don't, Daniel said. Noah pulled the phone out anyway. A message appeared from an unknown number. This is Maya Chen from Westbridge. I heard Claire tell Daniel you did not remember enough to stop anything. I documented the time because it felt wrong. 12:18 p.m. Noah read it twice. He typed only 3 words before locking the screen. Heliomed, 6 o'clock. He did not show them the screen. Daniel's voice lowered. Who is it? Noah locked the phone and placed it face down on the table. Someone who lets patients answer their own questions. Claire turned her face away. Daniel's patience slipped out of place. You think a nurse can save you? You think a junior engineer and a feeling about a folder can unwind an acquisition that took 3 years to build? No, Noah said. The answer seemed to satisfy him. Then Noah added, but you do. Daniel stopped. Noah tapped the medical addendum. You wouldn't need this if the clearance statement was enough. A knock came at the door. Lena stepped in without waiting. She held a sealed board packet against her side. The buyer's counsel is asking whether Mr. Reed's clearance is complete. Daniel stood. It will be. Lena looked at Noah. Will it? Noah picked up the black pen. Claire's breath caught. He wrote 1 word across the signature line. Pending. Then he set the pen down. Daniel fixed on the page. Noah's hand shook badly now, but his voice held. I want the archive file. I want the Blue Room risk memo. And I want my old messages before I sign anything that says I never mattered. Outside, the ceremony music began. Inside, Daniel's face finally lost the shape of friendship. Lena did not move when Daniel told her to leave the room. She stood by the door with the sealed board packet in one hand and the other resting against her badge, as if reminding herself what her job actually was. Daniel's voice stayed smooth. This is a medical issue now, Lena. Compliance can step out. No, Lena said. Claire's eyes moved to Lena. Daniel's smile thinned. Excuse me? Lena opened the board packet and removed a checklist clip to the front. Buyer counsel asked whether Mr. Reed's clearance is complete. He wrote pending on the statement. That makes it a compliance issue. He is impaired. Then we document why he refused, Lena said. We don't skip the reason because it is inconvenient. Noah saw Daniel's hand close around the back of a chair. For a moment, Lena looked afraid of the sentence she had just put into the room. Then she looked at Noah. You asked for the archive file, she said. I can verify whether it exists. Daniel stepped toward her. Not here. Then in compliance review 2, Lena answered. No external network access. If there is nothing relevant, we lose 5 minutes and close the matter cleanly. Buyer counsel's assistant appeared in the doorway. Mr. Pierce? Signature authority may hold if clearance isn't resolved before 4:30. Daniel released the chair. 5 minutes. He pointed at Noah. And he does not touch the system. Compliance review 2 had no windows, 2 monitors, a locked file cabinet, and a wall clock loud enough to make every second hostile. Lena logged in. Daniel stood behind her left shoulder. Claire stood behind Noah. Eli waited outside, pretending to check his tablet. Lena typed Blue Room into the archive search. No results. Daniel exhaled through his nose. The search field bothered him. Not the words, the place. Not archive, he said. Lena glanced back. What? Noah closed his eyes and followed the shape of a room he could not fully see. A blue folder, a warning label, his hand writing 3 letters at the top of a page. CRR.re. If it could stop deployment, he said slowly, it wouldn't be an archive, it would be quarantined. Daniel's voice cut in. That is enough. Lena's fingers hovered over the keyboard. Search compliance quarantine, Noah said. Daniel reached past Lena. He's guessing. Lena pulled the keyboard closer and opened a restricted index. One result appeared. Blue, room, critical, risk, memo, draft, read, N, locked. Noah forgot to breathe. Claire's hand left the back of his chair. Lena clicked the file. A credential prompt appeared. Authorized creator signature required. Daniel laughed once, but there was no relief in it. There. Locked. Old draft. Useless. Noah's hospital bracelet scratched against the desk as his hand moved closer. Daniel caught his wrist. I said he does not touch the system. Pain ran through Noah's ribs. He looked at Daniel's hand, then at his face. A memory opened without sound. Daniel grabbing the blue folder. Noah saying, "You don't get to sell fear as innovation." Daniel answering, "I get to sell what you were too scared to finish." The memory faded, but left the anger. "Let go," Noah said. Daniel released him when Lena turned. Lena reached into the folder from the conference room and pulled out the IP clearance statement. Across the line where Noah was supposed to surrender his past, the word pending sat in dark ink. "Creator signature," she said quietly. She scanned the document. The system rejected it. Signature context invalid. Daniel spread his hands. This is absurd. The prompt bothered him again. It wants the original. The original what? Claire asked. He took the discharge papers from inside his jacket. The paper was creased from the ride over, the hospital logo bright at the top, his signature at the bottom. Lena hesitated. That's not a corporate document. No, Noah said. But it is mine. She scanned it. The locked file opened. Critical risk memo. Heliomed patient shield transfer protocol. Submitted by Noah Reed. Role. Co-founder. Systems architecture. Status. Deployment hold required. Beneath the header was Noah's signature, older and steadier, with the same small line under the R. Lena's face lost color. Noah read the first paragraph, each sentence returning something the crash had not managed to kill. The flaw was not theoretical. Under rapid session refresh, treatment permission layers could duplicate across user roles. In a live pilot environment, a non-authorized user could alter patient access, medication, visibility, or referral priority. Eli made a sound from the doorway. Daniel said, "That memo was never approved." Lena scrolled. A second page appeared. Safety gate clause. No transfer, sale, deployment expansion, or external licensing may proceed while a critical risk memo remains unresolved and signed by an authorized creator. The signature line below it carried 2 names. Noah Reed. Daniel Pierce. But Daniel's line was blank. Noah turned slowly. "You never signed it." Lena scrolled farther. A system note appeared at the bottom. Moved to quarantine by N. Reed, 10:41 p.m. Attempted archive transfer by D. Pierce, 12:06 a.m. Transfer denied. Creator's signature conflict. Noah saw rain on glass again. The office after midnight. Daniel at the door. Claire's voice shaking behind him. Then the road. The headlights. The impact. He pushed the chair back too quickly and nearly fell. Claire reached for him, but he moved away from her hand. Lena printed the memo with shaking fingers. On the wall clock, the minute hand moved toward 4:30. "This has to go into the board packet," she said. Daniel turned to her, and the polish was gone. "If you do that, he said. You will end your career over a confused man and an obsolete draft. Lena looked at Noah's signature, then at Daniel's blank line. No, she said. I think this is the first complete document I've seen all day. Daniel did not argue with the memo. That was the first thing Noah noticed. He did not challenge the signature, the timestamp, or the risk. He went straight to control. Print nothing else, Daniel said. Lena held the first copy against her chest. This belongs in the board packet. It belongs in legal review after the signing. The clause says no transfer can proceed while the memo remains unresolved. Daniel stepped closer. And I am telling you, as CEO, that the memo is obsolete. Noah heard the word and felt another piece of himself push against the dark. Obsolete. A conference room after midnight. Daniel pacing near the glass. Claire standing near the door, crying without making a sound. Noah saying, "Patients are not beta testers." Then Daniel, colder than Noah had ever heard him. "You always know how to make fear sound moral." The memory slipped away before Noah could see what happened next. Lena moved toward the door. "I'm taking this upstairs." Daniel took out his phone. 2 seconds later, the monitor in Compliance Review 2 went black. Eli's voice came from the hallway. "Backend just dropped." Lena tried her badge on the door. The reader flashed red. Daniel sounded almost sorry. "Temporary security protocol. We have a medically unstable former employee attempting unauthorized access to restricted files." "You locked us in?" Claire asked. The question sounded too real to be performance. Her face carried a new fear, as if Daniel's story could close around anyone who questioned him. Daniel did not look at her. "I secured the room." Noah stood slowly, one hand braced on the table. His ribs burned, but he kept his eyes on Daniel. "You're not protecting the company. I am protecting it from the man who nearly destroyed it last night." The word last hit harder than nearly. Lena turned. "What happened last night?" Daniel's silence was too quick. Claire answered before he could. Noah came to the office. He was upset. He accused Daniel of hiding the flaw and threatened to ruin the acquisition. "I threatened to stop deployment," Noah said. "You don't remember that," Daniel snapped. "No," Noah said. "But you do." Daniel's face briefly showed something less polished than anger. Fear passed through it, sharp and brief, then disappeared behind contempt. "You want a memory?" Daniel said. "Fine." "You stormed into my office with that blue folder like a martyr. You threatened to send the memo to every board member and every pilot clinic. You were reckless. You were going to burn down 3 years of work because you could not handle risk. Because patients could be hurt. Patients are always a risk in healthcare technology," Daniel said. "That is why adults build companies and children hide behind warnings." Lena stared at him. Claire whispered, "Daniel." He turned to her. "No, he needs to hear it." Everyone treats Noah like some wounded genius, but genius without courage becomes a break. A man who builds a beautiful engine and panics when someone tries to drive it. Noah listened. The words should have cut deeper. Maybe they would later. But now all he heard was confirmation. Daniel knew the flaw was real. A chime sounded from Lena's phone. She checked the lock screen. "Board packet closes in 15 minutes. Daniel smiled again, but it no longer fit. "Then we should stop wasting time." The door opened from the outside. 2 security officers stood in the hallway with a Heliomed administrator behind them. "Mr. Reed," the administrator said carefully, "we need to escort you to a quiet waiting area." Beyond the guards, the lobby had noticed. The lobby had noticed. Heads turned near the stage. Buyer representatives whispered. The acquisition cameras, still testing angles, pointed toward the hallway. Daniel raised his voice just enough. "Noah, please don't make this public." There it was. The trap. If Noah resisted, he became unstable. If he stayed quiet, Daniel took the memo. Lena stepped forward. "This is a compliance dispute." Daniel did not move his eyes from Noah. It is a medical escalation. One of the guards reached for Noah's arm. Before he touched him, Eli stepped into view with his tablet held low against his side. "I found the night log," he said. Daniel turned. Eli's face was pale, but he did not back up. The parking garage camera lost feed from 10:58 to 11:07 p.m. last night. But the badge reader still logged exits. Daniel's voice dropped. "Eli. Walk away." Eli swallowed. "Noah's badge exited at 11:03. Claire said. "That proves he left." "No," Eli said. "It proves his badge left." Noah felt the hallway narrow around that sentence. Lena looked at the memo in her hands, then at the guards. "Who else exited?" she asked. Eli looked at Daniel. The ceremony music swelled from the lobby, bright and expensive and horribly wrong. Daniel reached for the tablet. Eli stepped back. "Answer her," Noah said. Eli's voice shook. Daniel's executive badge exited 32 seconds later. Claire covered her mouth. Something broke through Noah then, not a full memory, but the shape of one, rain on concrete, footsteps behind him, Daniel shouting his name, headlights where headlights should not have been. Daniel pointed at security. "Remove him now." But he was no longer pointing only at Noah. He was pointing at everyone who had heard. The security officers hesitated, waiting for Daniel's certainty to become an order they could obey. That delay saved Noah. Lena lifted the printed memo higher, not like a weapon, but like a document that had finally found the right room. "If you remove Mr. Reed before this goes to the board," she said, "I will note that Heliomed Security interfered with a compliance hold." Daniel's face turned toward her slowly. "You are not authorized to declare a hold. I'm authorized to report a condition that may require one." "That is not the same thing." "No," Lena said. "But it is enough to make counsel ask why you were afraid of a memo you called obsolete." The guards looked at each other. Noah saw the shift happen in small places. Not courage yet. Caution. The kind that enters a room when a powerful man's instructions begin to sound personally dangerous. Daniel saw it too. "Fine," he said. "Take it upstairs. I'll explain it myself." Lena did not move. "What now?" Daniel asked. "The board packet is locked for additions unless a second witness confirms relevance." Daniel almost smiled. "Convenient." "It's policy," Lena said. "No," Daniel replied. "It's theater." A voice spoke from behind the security officers. "Then let me be boring." Maya Chen stood in the hallway in blue scrubs under a raincoat, a visitor sticker crooked on her chest. Among the glass, suits, and acquisition banners, she looked impossible to ignore. Claire went still. Maya seemed like proof that the hospital morning had been real. Maya held up her phone. "I'm not here to diagnose anyone. I'm here because I entered a note at 12:18 p.m. after hearing Miss Monroe tell Mr. Pierce that Noah did not remember enough to stop anything." Daniel's eyes cut to Claire. Claire whispered, "Maya." Maya addressed her gently. "You answered for him before the doctor let him answer. You asked whether confusion could be documented before he finished the neurological questions. Then you stepped into the hall and said words that sounded less like concern than strategy. The hallway had gone quiet enough for the ceremony music to sound distant and false. Noah lowered his eyes to the hospital bracelet still around his wrist. The timestamp was there in black print. Admission, evaluation, discharge. A fragile timeline no one had expected him to keep wearing. Lena stepped toward Maya. "Can you provide that note?" "I already sent it to the hospital record system," Maya said. "And to myself? Because I was scared I would talk myself out of remembering it." Daniel recovered first. A nurse overheard a private conversation and misunderstood it. "That does not validate a corporate memo." "No," Maya said. "But it validates that people were shaping his credibility before he could defend himself." Eli raised his tablet. "And the night log validates that Daniel followed Noah out after the memo was quarantined." Claire's eyes went to Daniel. This time, She did not look away quickly enough. Noah caught it, the first honest fear on her face that was not fear of him. Daniel stepped closer to Claire. "Tell them." Her lips parted. For a moment, Noah thought she might choose the story Daniel had built for her. The version where Noah was unstable, where Daniel was necessary, where Claire had only been trying to help. Then her gaze dropped to the medical addendum on the table. Prepared by C. Monroe, Legal Liaison. "I thought he was spiraling," she said. Daniel's expression sharpened. Claire's voice shook, but she kept going. "Daniel told me Noah was obsessed with stopping the sale because he couldn't stand not being recognized. He said if we let Noah talk before the signing, he would destroy the company." Noah did not interrupt her. "He asked me to help make the doctors understand the context," Claire said. "I wrote the addendum from what Daniel gave me. I told myself it was protection." "For whom?" Lena asked. Claire faced Noah then. Not like his fiancé. Like a witness, finally seeing the person she had helped reduce to a case file. "I don't know anymore." Daniel laughed under his breath. "Unbelievable." Maya took one step forward. "The board needs to hear that too." The wall clock behind Lena showed 5:43. 2 minutes. Lena moved. She handed the printed memo to the nearest security officer. "Walk with me to the boardroom. If anyone stops us, your name goes in the incident report." The officer looked at Daniel, then at the memo. Then he stepped aside. Lena walked out with Maya beside her and Eli behind them, tablet still open to the night log. Noah started after them, but pain folded through his ribs and forced him to stop. Claire reached for him. He pulled back, not harshly, but enough. Daniel remained in the doorway, watching his clean story leave without his permission. This time, Noah watched evidence walk. The boardroom doors were already closing when Lena reached them. Inside, the acquisition ceremony had turned colder. The champagne remained untouched. Buyer's counsel sat near the screen, and the board waited with the careful patience of people who wanted a problem solved without touching it. Daniel entered before Lena could speak. He knew how to arrive in a crisis. Not rushed, not defensive, almost saddened. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "I apologize for the disruption. Noah has had a difficult day, and I made the mistake of believing he could attend tonight without becoming overwhelmed." Noah stood just outside the doorway with one hand pressed against his ribs. Claire stood behind him. Maya and Eli waited beside Lena, holding evidence that looked too small for Daniel's lie. Daniel turned toward the buyer. "We have a former colleague experiencing post-traumatic confusion, fixated on an old draft and an imagined ownership dispute. Out of respect for his recovery, I ask that we proceed and handle his concerns privately." A board member glanced at Noah's hospital bracelet. Daniel had chosen that angle well. From here, it looked like weakness. Noah stepped into the room anyway. "I did not sign the clearance." Daniel lowered his voice into sympathy. "You wrote pending because you were frightened." "No," Noah said. "I wrote pending because you gave me a medical statement Claire prepared from your version of my mind." The board member looked at Claire. Claire's mouth tightened, but she did not hide behind Daniel this time. Buyer counsel raised a hand. "What exactly is being alleged?" Lena placed the printed memo on the table. A critical risk memo exists in compliance quarantine. It is signed by Noah Reed as co-founder and systems architect. It triggers a safety gate clause prohibiting transfer, sale, deployment expansion, or external licensing while unresolved. Daniel gave a soft laugh. "That is an obsolete internal draft." Lena looked at buyer counsel. "The system does not classify it as obsolete. It classifies it as locked and unresolved." She connected her laptop. On the screen appeared the file header. Critical Risk Memo. Submitted by Noah Reed. Role, Co-founder, Systems Architecture. Status, Deployment Hold Required. Then Lena scrolled to the signatures. Noah Reed's name appeared with the small line beneath the R. Daniel Pierce's line remained blank. Buyer counsel leaned forward. Daniel spoke quickly. The absence of my signature proves only that I did not validate his panic. Eli stepped forward, voice thin but clear. The flaw is live in the demo environment. Daniel turned on him. Eli. The junior engineer flinched, then held up the tablet. When the session refreshes quickly, patient permission layers duplicate. A nurse-level user can inherit administrative access. I reproduced it twice. Mr. Pierce called it a display lag. Buyer counsel looked at Daniel. Is that true? It is a contained artifact. Noah moved closer to the table. Then open the demo and contain it. Daniel's jaw worked. Noah continued before Daniel could answer. Use the buyer test profile. Refresh it 3 times. If nothing happens, I will sit down. A long pause followed. Not silence. Calculation. Finally, he said, we are not turning a legal closing into a technical circus. Lena spoke next. Then we note refusal to test a reported patient access flaw. Buyer counsel closed his folder halfway. That would require us to pause signature authority. Daniel's control cracked at the edge. You are allowing a man who cannot remember his own work history to sabotage a lawful acquisition. Maya stepped into the room. I cannot speak to his work history, she said, but I can speak to what happened before anyone let him answer for himself. Daniel treated her as if furniture had started speaking. Maya set her phone on the table. At 12:18 p.m., I documented Miss Monroe telling Mr. Pierce that Noah did not remember enough to stop anything after she answered neurological questions for him. Claire closed her eyes. Daniel said, a nurse misunderstood a private conversation. No, Claire said. The word came out small, but it reached the end of the table. Daniel turned. Claire faced Noah first, then the board. She did not misunderstand. I wrote the addendum because Daniel told me Noah had become dangerous to himself and to the company. I believed him because it was easier than admitting Noah might be right. Daniel's face hardened. Claire. She did not stop. He gave me the language. Fixation on alleged ownership. Impaired ability to distinguish memory fragments from present facts. Those were legal shields. The board chair removed his glasses. Noah felt the room shifting, but Daniel was not finished. Daniel pointed at the screen. Even if every word is real, it does not prove I caused Noah's accident or acted in bad faith. It proves Noah, and I disagreed before he drove away in a storm. Eli's tablet connected to the display next. The parking garage access log appeared beneath the memo. Noah Reed badge exit, 11:03 p.m. Daniel Pierce executive badge exit. 11 hours 3 minutes and 32 seconds p.m. Camera feed interruption, 10:58 p.m., 11:07 p.m. Buyer counsel read it twice. Daniel's voice lost volume. I walked out to calm him down. Noah's memory returned in pieces, not enough for a courtroom, but enough for his own bones. Rain on concrete. Daniel's hand around his sleeve, the blue folder under Noah's arm. Daniel, saying, if you send that memo, you leave me nothing. Noah met his eyes. You followed me because I still had the folder. Daniel said nothing. You didn't want to calm me down. You wanted the memo before I could send it. Daniel's mouth opened, but no clean story came out. The board chair turned to buyer counsel. Can we proceed? No, counsel said. Not with an unresolved safety gate, contested clearance, reported access flaw, and possible witness interference. Daniel stepped back as if the word no had physical weight. Noah put one hand on the table. He was pale, but when Maya stepped toward him, he lifted his fingers once to tell her he could stand. I am not asking you to give me the company tonight, he said. I am asking you not to sell a system that can hurt patients just because the man selling it learned how to make fear sound like weakness. No one reached for the signature packet. Buyer counsel placed the closing document into her briefcase. Transfer authority is frozen, pending independent audit. The countdown on the wall monitor reached 6. Nothing was signed. Daniel faced the blank signature line in front of him. No one asked Noah to prove he belonged before they believed the warning he had left behind. The freeze order did not feel like victory. It felt like oxygen arriving too late. Noah sat in an empty consultation room 2 floors below the boardroom while the building above him rearranged itself around the word investigation. The banners still hung in the lobby. The champagne was still on the tables. The countdown screen had gone dark. No one had taken it down yet. Maya checked his blood pressure as if one part of the night could still be simple. "You need a hospital," she said. "I just left one. That was before you stopped a corporate sale with broken ribs." Noah almost smiled, but the movement hurt. Lena entered with a folder tucked under her arm, looking older from the cost of choosing truth after training herself to survive around powerful people. "Transfer authority is frozen," she said. "Independent audit begins tomorrow morning. Buyer council wants all pilot access limited until the permissions flaw is reviewed." "And Daniel?" Board asked him to surrender administrative control pending inquiry. Noah absorbed that slowly. Daniel had controlled rooms before Noah entered them. Now his access was a question waiting for lawyers. It should have satisfied Noah more than it did. Claire stood in the doorway. She held her engagement ring in her fist as if it burned. Maya silently asked if Noah wanted her removed. Noah shook his head. Claire stepped inside but did not come close. "I don't know how to apologize for helping him do that," she said. The ache in Noah was older than the crash. "Then don't make it smaller so it fits inside an apology." Her eyes filled, but she nodded. "I believed him because it was easier than believing you were right and I had been standing on the wrong side of your fear. You called it confusion. I know. You wrote it down. I know." That was the worst part. She did not deny it anymore. Noah turned the hospital bracelet around his wrist until the printed timestamp faced up. Maya kept a note because something felt wrong. Eli kept a screenshot because something looked wrong. Lena stopped the packet because something read wrong. Claire swallowed. "You had more than a feeling," Noah said. "You had me." She closed her fist around the ring. "I'm sorry," she said again, smaller this time. Noah did not forgive her. He also did not punish her. He simply let the words remain unfinished between them. Later, the board chair came downstairs with temporary papers, freeze order, audit authorization, clinical notification draft, administrative control transfer. The documents looked ordinary. That seemed right. It was a pause. A pause before patients were exposed, before a lie became a signed fact, long enough for truth to catch up. The board chair placed the final page in front of him. "We need your acknowledgement as original submitting creator." The signature line waited for him. His memories were still damaged. Daniel's voice came and went in pieces. The crash remained a broken film: rain, concrete, headlights, pain. Many choices from the night before were still missing. But he knew the hand resting on the table, the small scar near his thumb, the way the pen felt when Lena placed it beside the page. His fingers shook as he picked it up. No one reached to steady him. That mattered. He signed slowly. Noah Reed. The line beneath the R appeared by instinct, quick and certain, as if part of him had waited all day to return to the page. Lena watched the mark form. After the board chair left, she remained by the table with the audit folder in her hands. "Do you remember why you sign it that way?" she asked. Noah lowered his gaze to the name. The answer did not come. Maybe one day it would. Maybe it would not. Across the room, Maya gathered the torn visitor sticker from his jacket and dropped it into the trash. The word Guest folded in half before it disappeared. Noah touched the hospital bracelet one last time, then unclasped it and set it beside the signed order. Patient, visitor, founder. All the labels had tried to explain him. Only one had asked nothing from him except the truth. He looked at the signature again. "No," he said. Then he rested his finger beneath the small line under the R. "But I know it's mine."